Here goes a lesson on Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler. This is going to be the rhythm parts lesson. We're going to start out with a D minor chord. We have a very interesting rhythm right out of the gate. We got down, down, up, down, up, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, up, down. Check this out. So one more time, that's down, down, up, down, up, down. Of course, there's some variations you can add to that, but that's your basic thing. That's going to go 8 times to get us started on Sultans of Swing. 2, 3, and. Okay, then we have our first chord progression. We're going to have D minor, C, B flat, and A7. I'm going to make this A7 come up here so it's not too ringy with the open, but you could do it down here if you want to as well. I'm going to do this A7 up here. So we're going to go. So see how those are upbeats on the C and the B flat? Kind of down, back to a downbeat on the A7. So we're going to go to an F chord here. We're going to have a big ba-da-dum when we get there. So we're going to have. C, B flat, D minor. So this riff is going to happen a lot. This is B flat. This is these threes on the D string, G string, and B string. And you use those threes and put a 6 on it on the second string. We're going to slide from that B flat up to C. So that's going to be a recurring thing. Happens a lot in here. So let's look at that verse again. And you could go to get you from that C to B flat. That's a F to C, and the other guitar player is doing that. So it's like multiple layers of guitars, of course. So you could do kind of simple and not do that one and just kind of go from C to B flat, or you could throw that in there if you want. So to be. D minor. Get that little riff. So that first time you just do that thing once. But later in the song, there's going to be times where you do it twice in a row. So it'll be like. But this first time, we're just doing one. And that's when he says Sultans of Swing and stuff, you know, in the chorus line. So the first one is just going to end with that. You're holding that C right there. That's a part of a C chord. And then we're going to go to the second. And I'm going to keep that one low on purpose because the other guitar part jumps up and. So the first thing we could do is you could either wait to do the riff like boom, or you could hit this D bass note. So what we're doing here is we're doing like the rest of the D minor chords, 7, 7, and 6 on the D, G, and B strings. And we're popping down to the C notes, these 5s, down to the 3s, the B flat notes. And then this is part of an F chord if you look at that shape there. So this is that 7, 5, and 6. F to C there. And then up here we're going to have this one. This would be like F to C again. So F is like this, 8, 10, 10, 10. And C is like this, 10, 9, 8. Look at that. Right? So F, F to C, F to C. But the lower guitar might just be going. And this riff always goes twice. And then when it's going into a new verse, it kind of just holds on that C there. So this would be the third verse. F. Okay, so that one just has that one quick little B flat riff, and then it's into the next verse. This would be the fourth verse. Now the fourth verse is going to play out the same, but it's going to have two of those B flat things. Like I said, when he says Sultans of Swing. And then we're going to have the main riff again. And then your fifth verse is going to be double again with this Sultans. And it's going to have the big riff again. Verse is also going to have two of those riffs and another big riff. And the last solo is going to be a different progression a little bit. D minor, C, B flat. Holds the C for a while. That's what's different about it. Oh, and I didn't use a pick because Mark Knopfler doesn't use a pick. So think of all the cool things you can do when you're getting like flamenco, like nails kind of involved and different kind of things you can do, and Mark Knopfler is a master at that. The next lesson about this, it's going to have all the solos. And one thing, think about this when you're playing with your fingers versus a pick. With a pick, you got to get the down and up to do a fast thing like this. So think about that when you have all these different fingers working. He's got 3 fingers working. He has no pick, but he's got 3 different fingers. It becomes even easier than if you had a pick, because you got all those fingers working different strings for you. All right, so here goes the 2 solos from Sultans of Swing. Here goes the first one. Okay, so that first solo, 12th fret of the G string. So 10, 12, 10, and 9, 10, 9. We've got like 3 bends. 1, 2, 3. Now, then we're going to make an A, like an A chord shape, like an A triad all the way up. So you're going to have the 12 and 11. Those are like the last 2 16th notes of the previous measure. So it kind of starts a new measure on that one. So da-da-dum-bum-bum. So that's the 9, 10, 9. Then we're going to hit this 12 and do a half step bend on that. Because remember, we're in D minor on this song, so that F would be the note to go with that D minor. So A is the kind of odd man out here. Kind of from the harmonic minor kind of ville. So we got this. Then we're going to come down that D minor. So that's a D minor shape right there. 10, 10, 10, 12. Then we're going to go second string, 11 and 13 to the 10, and then quick staccato on the 11, and then slide 9 to 10 there. So let's look at what we got so far. Now we're going to be bending up on this 12. So that's when we get to the F chord. So look at that. That's like part of a F major pentatonic kind of scale kind of thing. So we got. So our pinky has to get both of those 13s down there. So we got. And then we're going to have. So that's 13 to 12 in the bottom one, and then 13, 12, 14, 12 in the G string, and then back to the 13 on the second string. Bum, bum, bum. So let's look at what we got. And you can even slide into this. So again, that was that 13, 12, and then 13. It's making like that major shape down there, like a C chord. Now we're going to bend this 13. And then bar this. And then we're going to come down here to this B flat. So we got going up the 3, 3, 3, 6, 3, sliding into the C chord. So here we have kind of raking up. That's some of those cool finger things you can do. So he's going up the C chord, but he's going to go on the second string, 5, 6, 8, and back and sliding up. Okay, so that solo ends like this. 5, 7, 5 in the G string. Bending that 7. 8 underneath it on the second string. Bring it down and 5, 7, 7. So the whole solo. Okay, so let's look at the last solo at the end of the song. Okay, so something like that. So we got, again, that's that 12th fret of the G string. Kind of in D minor pentatonic here. So we got the 10, 12, 10 to 12. So. Okay, so So that's in that A minor pentatonic, but then it comes to that F here. So it starts with a 9, 8, 10. Ends with a 10, 7 there. So then we got a... And then we start doing... So small string 8 to the 10, 8 to the 9. So it does that for a while, then we're going to have this. So we're bending that 12 up, we're like in this 10th fret. So we get that pull off, and then another one, and then. So that's 10, 12 in the D, 10, 10, and then 12 in the G. So let's look at this. Could be like the 2, 5, 2 on that one. So then we have a 10 to 12 to 10. Then we're going to bend that 11 up. We bend that 11 all the way up a whole step. We hit the 12 underneath it. We come down and hit the 10. So we got. Then we start this 16th note kind of thing. So we got 13 and 10 on the little string, and then 10 and 10. And then we're going to put in this 11 on the second string. Take it up to. So that's even easier than having a pick if you use your fingers and you get them all in the right spot. D minor, B flat, and C. And I know that it kind of starts sometimes. He's so slick with it that sometimes he starts with a couple notes before the high note. And at the end it goes. So we got. So the 13, 15, and 13. And then we got 12, 15, 12. 13, 15. 10, 13. 9, 12, 9. You can do all those. All right, this is going to be part 3 of Sultans of Swing. The first 2 dealt with the basic rhythm parts, and the second one dealt with the solos. Now this one is going to be like all those fills, the solo at the beginning of the song, plus all the fills in between verses. And I'm also going to do the solos real quick once again and talk about a couple things that I've picked up since I've heard the song a few more times since last week. So let's take a look at the very first thing. So you got that rhythm coming in. You could look at the rhythm lesson to get more of that going on. But what's happening here is he's going to wait a little bit and do a little solo off the beginning of that. So it goes, and he's waiting to go. So that's going to be the 5s on the D string and the G string, up to the 7s, and then it's going to go. So that was the D string sliding 5 to 7, and then the 7 on the G string underneath it. So first you got. And that's like the 7, 7, and 6 of a D minor chord, and you're kind of raking that with your fingers. So you go up to the 6 here, and then back to that 7 on the G string. And then you're going to rake these next ones, 7, 6, and 5. Go up to that 8, so we got raking up to the 5, 7, 6, and 5. 8 to 5 to the 6 on the second string. Then you got to hammer on, pull off 5, 6, 5 on that B string to the 7th fret D on the G string. So once again we got. And then we have the first set of lyrics. So the first set of lyrics goes, you got to shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime. Now after it says meantime, so these are the chords going on during that. After he says meantime, you have this 4th fret of the G string. A couple bends up on that one. It's like a whole step bend to the sound of the 6. Then you could slide into that 7. His next line is, south of the river you stop and you hold everything. You could be like, in the meantime, south of the river you stop and you hold everything. So you can go down on the 7, 5, 3, and 2. Now once it says south of the river you stop and you hold everything, you're going to slide up to this 11 and 10. So 11 on the D string, 10 on the B string. And you can kind of play around with that little 11 on the B string too. Then it goes into the F chord. A band is blowing Dixie, double 4 time. So after he says that band is blowing Dixie double 4 time, you have one of these hit things on this riff here. You got the 5s, the C chord, staccato a couple times. Then you got this 7, 5, and 6, part of an F chord there. And you kind of hit that twice and pull it off. You go down to those 3s. And then our first riff at the end of this, you feel all right when you hear the music ring. So once he says that, once you hear the music ring, then it's going to go. I just moved that finger back. So you got 5 to 7 and 7, back to 7, 6 on the second string, to that 7D note on the G string. Then we're going to have this. So that's a B flat chord, 3, 3, 3. And we're going to put in that 6th fret of the B string. So we're not hitting the smallest string, we're hitting the other 3 there. Slide that B flat into a C, and then you have this. So that last little riff is we're sliding into the 7th fret of the A string, and then 5, 7, 5. So let's look at what we got so far. Shiver in the dark, raining in the park, but meantime. South of the river, you stop and you hold everything. So south of the river, you stop and you hold everything. Then we got the F. Band is blowing Dixie, double 4 time. You got that riff. You feel all right when you hear the music ring. Now we're on to the second verse. Well, after it says, well, now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces, we're going to have this riff. So it's the 11 and 10 we were doing before, going to the little 11 on the B string, down to the 9, 8, to the 7, 6. Coming in out of the rain, you hear the jazz go down, and then we have this riff. So we got a 10 to 9 to 10, and then 9, 7, and 6, 7. You could kind of stop it around there, but this tab I'm looking at says it goes on down to the 4 here and the 7 and 5 before it gets into the F chord. So you got. And that's going to be competition in other places. And then we got this little sliding thing. We got up to the 9 and 8 here to the 7 and 6. So then we have this competition in other places line on that F chord. We're going to do one of these. Oh, but the horns, they blow in that sound. Now when you got that, we're going to have the 10 and the 10 on the G string and the E string to the 9 and 8. And then we're going to hit the 10 and the 10 on the G string and the B string. Competition, other places. So then when they say the horns blowing that sound, we got way on down south. We're going to do this again. Way on down south in London town. Let me get that big riff. And when you get to this one, you can do these 10s up here. Sometimes it can just be that 9 and 8 instead of that whole part of a C chord. And you can kind of slide up from when you have this. And sometimes that pulls off a little bit too. So I kind of use those 2 5s to get back into that thing. Okay, then we're ready for the next verse. Okay, now we have the Guitar George verse. So you check out Guitar George, he knows all the chords, and we're gonna go. So that's gonna be like an A7 up here, 9, 8, and 9. And down a half step and back up. And then you're back to D minor for the next part of that verse. So you check out Guitar George, he knows all the chords. Mind, he's strictly rhythm. He doesn't want to make it cry or sing. And then we got a cool riff. Like an A minor pentatonic kind of. 7, bending on the G string to 5 and 5. Back to that 5. Then we're going to bend this 8 here. But we're going to have a 9 underneath it when we bend that up. And then we're going to that 7 down there. Then we just bend that 8 up a few times. So once again. And that note right there takes us to that F chord. They said an old guitar is all he can afford. We got a little riff right there. So we're going from 7 to 9 to the 8 there. Back to that 7, 6 a little bit. And then when he gets up under the lights to play his thing, and then we're going to have... Got another one of those high riffs. Kind of sliding from the 7 here. Do that little double stop in those 10s. To the 9, 8, to those 10s again. And then we got the... So that one's a little different. We start on the 5th string. And that puts us into the next new verse. So Harry doesn't mind making the scene. He's got a daytime job and he's doing all right. So the Harry thing is going to be this 7 and 8. Well, Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. So that's a little riff for the Harry thing. Then we're going to have, if he doesn't make the scene, he's got a daytime job, he's doing all right. So we got a 7 to 9 here. And then like a 9, 10, 9, 9. And then we got a... So that was a 7 and 6 on the G, to a 7 on the D, to little 5. And then we're going to bend this 8 and 8. So that's going to be getting into the F chord there. After the F chord of this new one, this is going to be, he can play the honky tonk like anything. We got that riff again. Saving it up for Friday night. This one is going to go. So this one's going to slide from the 5 to 7 and 7. And then 10, 9, 8, 7, little chromatic riff. got the big riff. Okay, now we got a new verse. We got a Crowd of Young Boys verse. So now the crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner. So we got a 12th fret. This is like an A major pentatonic kind of thing. We're on that A7 at that time. So you got the bend on the 12 going up to the 12 underneath it. So we kind of go back up with that 12. And then you're going to slide up to this 14 to 13. 14 on the G, 13 on the little E. That's part of the F chord. So we got the... And then that's into the... They're dressed in their best brown baggies and their platform soles. Then we got a riff. So that was similar to the one before. We just have a 12 to 9. And then we got a 10 and a 9. Back to this bend thing, 8-8. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. Then we have this riff. It's not what they call rock and roll. So we got that same type of 5 to 7 and thing with that little 6. Sultans, we do this again. Sultans, they played Creole, and we got that big riff. Creole. And then we have the first solo. There's a couple things in there on the other lesson I might have done a little bit different, but I looked it up and I believe this is a bit more accurate. I might have been doing the 12 a little bit on that thing, but it's really the 11. So let's look at this again. Ten, 13, and then you're 11, 13, 11. And then 10, then 11, slide into 10, and then... There's a couple bends in that. I might not have done that exactly the same. And you can slide into this 13. And you're back into it. So then we're going to get into the last verse here. So this last verse is, and then the man, he steps right up to the microphone. So when we get into this one, we're going to have this new type of a riff. So then the man, he steps right up to the microphone. We're going to have... So we got the 12 and the 12 we're sliding into, and the D and the B string. To the 14s, to the 17s, to the 15s. Okay, so once that's, it's like... Man, he steps right up to the microphone. That kind of thing. It says, stop and you hold everything. Then he has a triple riff on that A7. And they're into the F. It says, time to go home. Back to that type of a riff. Then we're going to have this. So it's kind of a 6-7, 6-7 that time. And then do it again. Then you got your big riff again, and then we're going to get into this last solo. Okay, in that last solo, That can kind of fade out a little bit faster than going all the way with it. He seems to kind of stop doing that a little bit on the way to that. And here, da-da-da, da-da-da. Do that on both. I might not have done that last time. And instead of hitting a lower note, don't hit a lower note. Just bend that. And on this thing, see, I can get 3 fingers going. That's kind of how you can do it faster than even with a pick. But when you start flipping it over to these other ones, he starts leading with one of these lower notes too, instead of the high note. See how it kind of stops earlier? So even on that 10-10 one, he finishes early on this. And that might be 13-13 instead of.